As you guys check in, let me know how everyone's going. Let me know where you're tapping in from. Let's get in the habit of checking in and liking the video. Get it out the way. Guys like myself, I don't like asking for things. I'm pretty much been on my own, self-sufficient since I was 17. At 43 years old, I don't like asking for things. Nothing to do with ego, everything to do with efficiency. So let's create habits around our live streams to when you guys say hi to me, we've already liked the video. Perfect. Guys, if you didn't catch my first live stream earlier this morning, it is my Monday afternoon in Sydney, Australia. So wherever you're tuning in, if you're in America, it's your evening. It's getting late there. We talked about our wins this weekend. We already covered. We've hit 21 fights in a row in the UFC. We hit a plus 770. We hit my 2 method of victory locks. We're eating. So we're doing good. We're doing good. And I always tell you guys, just because last week it wasn't a busy week in boxing, didn't mean we weren't going to find a victory. We're going to find victories. And that's my goal. That's my job. I put a lot of time in this. So welcome to the channel. Guys, if you haven't subscribed, I'm going to ask you to do that as well. And one more thing, join the Discord. You'll see the boys from the Discord on this live stream. They're the ones with the blue stars. They are Johnny Says Boxing Insiders. What that allows you to do is you support the channel here. You get full access on the YouTube channel. You get accessibility to myself on Instagram. And more importantly, you become members of our Discord community. And there you'll be in a group with professional bettors. You'll see my parlays, our picks, and the group community is growing. We've been doing it for almost a month now. I think we're almost at 150 people. It's only a couple bucks a month. That link is pinned. Let's get started. What's up, Mark? Ball versus Goodman probably will last over 10 and a half rounds. What did I miss so far? Dwayne in the house. Let's go. Josh Heath. Goodman will be difficult to hit as he's constantly moving, but Ball's volume will break him down. Yeah, it's a great fight. It's the photo I used. It's the tagline. It's not supposed to be clickbait. Upset alert. Should Nick Ball be on upset alert? I think he will be on. I think he should be. Daniel Vega, appreciate the tip, my man. Daniel Vega hooks his bartender up, his boxing bookie up. $5 tip. Appreciate you, mate. It is going to be a good week. And Vega, I really believe this, without getting too esoteric, that our thought process helps sort of create the things around us. Not necessarily going to say, manifest destiny sort of thing, but, it is going to be a good week. We tell ourselves it's going to be a good week. We develop a mindset about that. And moving forward with all areas, if you're telling yourself it's going to be a good day, you're going to have a good day. If you're telling yourself it's going to be a shitty day, you're going to have a shitty day. So Dave Vega, appreciate you. We're having a good one, aren't we? Julius, what's up, buddy? Parlay over on Ball versus Goodman, under on Atomo White. Julius, could you put that in the Discord, my guy? I think you might have already put that in the Discord, but post that in the Discord, and could you tag me in it? Because I just learned that I could pin parlays in our Discord, because I want to kind of sit with that one. Even if the Inoue fight went ahead, Inoue would have flattened Goodman in 3 rounds, simply because Inoue has good timing and is too fast. Joshua Heath, I actually disagree with you on that. I don't think Inoue would have. I mean, it's hard to say Inoue would have flattened Goodman in 3 rounds. Sam's never been stopped. Sam's never lost. And to say that Inoue's timing, I mean, his timing isn't as good to not get dropped against Neary. His timing isn't as good to not get dropped against a club domestic guy like Ramon Cardenas. I mean, Goodman's beaten guys like Rasheed Aleem. He's beaten TJ Doheny. I don't see Sam Goodman getting stopped in 3 rounds against anybody, believe it or not. Sam Goodman's a hell of a boxer. He's a smooth operator. I don't see Goodman. I don't see Inoue stopping him in 3 rounds. Dwayne Styles, what's next for Ball if he wins? At 126, I mean, I want to see unification fights in every division. My guy at 126 is Rafa Espinoza. I think Espinoza beats all of them at 26, to be honest with you. Mark, upset is there, but not by knockout. I think that Goodman could win a decision. Now, last week I was almost convinced. I got to be honest with you guys. Last week, I was almost convinced I was going to bet Goodman on the money line because it's plus 550, you know? You give me those odds at plus 550 against a guy like Sam Goodman, who's a great boxer, an undefeated guy, a dude who walks around like a champion. You know, he was a number one contender to fight anyway for a reason. He's getting a world title fight at 26 for a reason. Yeah, I like it. Guys, if this stream freezes, I'm going to come back on. It looks like the stream is freezing. Ford showed a good blueprint on how to deal with ball's volume. I feel like Goodman will take a similar approach. Guys, kind of keep me updated. I'm looking at my Wi-Fi router, and it says it's offline. If I freeze or it goes offline, somebody let me know. I'll come back. Joshua Heath, Ford showed a good blueprint. Yeah, the thing, predictions for Hrgovic. Josh, I'm glad you brought up Hrgovic versus Adelaide. I'm not excited about that fight. I'm going to break the fight down. I wanted to let you guys know a little bit of a sort of caution. Just because there's fights to bet on doesn't mean we have to bet on every fight. I'm going to predict the winner. I'm going to do a stats don't lie video on it, but I don't like that fight. I mean, Hrgovic is a huge favorite, but betting on the heavyweights can be tricky. And in terms of the value, I think Hrgovic is $1.15 on the money line. He's $1.14 on the money line. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like what I see from Adelaide in terms of, do I put Adelaide at a world-class level? I might avoid this fight. Yeah, so I'm just letting you boys know. Also, the longer you hang around the channel, just because I do a breakdown video and I give you a winner doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna bet on that fight. So join our Discord. With all of my picks that I do bet on, that I wager on, I put in our Discord. But I'm kind of hesitant on betting on Hrgovic versus Adelaide. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people. I'm waiting on your Crawford Canelo. Almighty OG, mate. I've been waiting to give my take on Crawford Canelo since July 2023. It's been on the back of my mind ever since Bud beat EJ, and then he went and he did the media rounds. Because I'm a Crawford fan. Yeah. Ever since he beat EJ and started doing the podcasts, and he first said Canelo, I remember thinking to myself, shit. I was like, I'm gonna have to break that fight down. So yeah, it's coming. Let's get through this week first. We got some good fights coming up. We got the Pro Box card on Friday. We obviously have Saudi. Goodman can win a decision over Ball if he just Josh, the stakes are as high they're gonna get for Goodman, right? Goodman is going to have to box a great fight. Goodman's going to have to control range. The thing I don't like with Nick Ball's style is he gets, obviously it's not shocking to say he gets out of position. He gets away with a lot of things that a lot of guys usually don't get away with. And I always say, my old boxing coach used to always say, those sort of unorthodox, bad technical decisions will work for you until they don't work for you. You know what I'm saying? And he'll just barrel into you. He runs into you. He walks onto things. I mean, Goodman is good at range. Goodman's good at distance. He uses the whole ring. He's a smooth operator. But Sammy Boy, Sammy Boy likes to fight. He's a fighter too. So the mindset is there. I'm uploading my prediction today. So just stay tuned to the channel. To answer Spartan, what's up, 7 Spartan? You know we got the UFC picks this week. Give me until Thursday. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I say welcome. The UFC, we're going to do, put in your calendar, we're going to do a UFC-only live stream. My second live stream every Thursday. We cover all the UFC of the week. But we'll sprinkle in some chats like right now, which I'm telling you, I'll talk about it later in the week. But there's some big fights on that card. Goodman is tactical. I agree. Josh says Ball lost the first 4 rounds against Doan. Dude, TJ Donnie's could box, mate. Watch TJ against Inoue. I know the fight got stopped. TJ hurt his lower back. He was struggling with a lower back injury going into that fight. People were saying it was from the body rip. But TJ, he cut his teeth down here in Sydney at Bondi Boxing Club. I know his coach. I was former business partners. with Tony Del Vecchio, the coach. TJ is as tough as they come. He's a former world champion. He was winning exchanges. TJ was winning exchanges against Inoue. So, you know, Doheny's not in his prime anymore, but that's a tough dude to beat. Ball is kind of like Pitbull. Yeah, similar. Similar. Neither guy has one punch knockout power. They're both kind of volume guys. They're kind of like their body types because people kind of compare them a little bit. You know, I would probably say, I don't know. They're not two of my favorite boxing styles. The longer you guys know me on the channel, I like cleaner boxers. I like smooth guys, defensively sound guys. I don't really like aggressive sort of. I don't know. I do. You know, Sugar Nunez is aggressive. I like his style actually, but when you look at Ball's style, it's not quite like Sugar Nunez's style. And, you know, you think William Zepeda style is pressure forward as well. Ball doesn't do nice work from an optic, you know, if you're one of these old school guys like me and the sweet science, the optic of what a fight looks like. Nick Ball's work it's not the type of work I like, but he's a world champion. Can't wait for DDP and Chimaev, 100%. I agree with you on that. Hamzat. What's up, DJ in the house? Checking in, my man. Hopefully, DJ Green, you got on some of that MMA action. I put you boys on the last 2 weeks. Julius. What's up, Julius? The more I analyze white, I know, Julius, right? I agree, Julius. I think that this fight, Dylan White versus Moses, is almost kind of, it's like, do you guys feel that Moses is being heralded as the next guy? Like, not just in the UK. I feel like Moses, the marketing around him, DAZN if you guys know who she's like a pop star. I don't listen to pop music. What's her name? Ellie Goulding. So they're like my point is I feel like Moses is being propped up for a reason. I think he's a real deal. I think that Moses, everything I've seen, he should definitely stop Dylan White. Muscle Brown in the house. That blue star looks great next to your name, Muscle Brown. Muscles, I sent you my little cheeky two-leg, by the way. See, Muscles me and Muscle, we got the insider, and then we're inside of the inside. So, like, I sent you a $1.40 two-leg because I know you like to wager. Some of the boys on the live stream, guys, are heavy wagers. So when you look at a nice two-leg lock, and it's paying $1.40, don't look at it for like a $10 bet to win $4. You look at it, you know, 10K will get you 4K, 20K gets you 8K, 25K gets you 12K. So there's a sneaky little one that I really like. I haven't shared it with anybody though, so let me know. Muscles, keep that on the down low though. I haven't shared it with anyone yet. Moses is the best heavyweight. I think so. Koki, what's up, buddy? He isn't as stiff heavyweight. That's why he's getting attention. Josh, Moses is one of my favorite heavy. Yep, I agree. I seen it. Mark, why is the blue star? So, Mark, your star is actually the next level. So what YouTube does is, Mark, you're an OG insider. You joined my Discord before Muscles. So you're at the teal level. Muscle joined, I think, 2 weeks ago. So I'm just learning all this. I didn't make these rules. So the way that the YouTube insider works is, as you support my channel, you pay a couple bucks a month, you get access to our Discord. YouTube puts these badges next to your name. So the first tier is the blue. And then if you look at Boxing Fan, if you look at Mark, they have the teal star. They've been here a little bit longer. So all with time. Yeah, Mark, you're a level above, brother. Appreciate you. Julius, Moses Hansby is, yeah. Julius, I mean, and it's cool that you talk about Moses' hand speed first. He does a lot of things. And I'm always, just by nature, hesitant to jump on hype trains. And that's for instance, if there's a new restaurant that opens in my neighborhood and my girl wants to go there and all her girls went and all the boys are talking about go, I ain't going. It'll probably take me 6 months to go to that new restaurant. Or if there's like, you know, back in the day, a new nightclub that opens and everybody's saying it's popping off, I'm not going to go right away. So same thing. I don't choose to be this way, but my personality is, if there's a fighter that everybody's hyping up, I take a step back until I see what I need to see before I jump in. So even with Moses, I've been late to the party. I've watched his career. I've covered him before, but I've been kind of late to the party. And now, like, mixing with the hype he's been getting, this nice little feature he's about to get, we're about to figure a lot of things out. Muscles, is there any concern with Moses' lack of experience in gas tank issues considering he hasn't gone rounds? It's a great point, Muscle. There has to be a concern, but everything that I've heard from his coach, from his coaches, from sparring partners, the media, the British. I've been on the UK. My YouTube algorithm is filled with UK boxing channels with like 400 subscribers, and they're all like, they know their stuff. And a lot of them are talking about Moses and, talking about they know their sparring partners, and people around him all say that lack of experience is just out of consequence due to how he's gone about his business at this stage of his career. Because we know if he wasn't stopping guys and he was going the distance, then the other narrative around his name would be he can't finish. So my point is, at this stage of where he is in his growth, there's going to be some talking point on caution, which there should be. This, we're not fanboys, so it's what Muscles just said there is probably the most valid point in terms of risk adverse of the bettors on the channel who are going to bet heavy on Moses. You got to ask yourself that. You got to ask yourself what Muscles said there. But to answer that, you then have to obviously see who he's fighting. Where's Dylan at in his career? How much is in the tank? And you guys, you tune into channels like mine to get all those answers. I don't think it'll be a concern, Muscles, just to answer your question. It took me a little while to get there. We're artifacts in here with the teal color. Ain't that the truth? Koki, Moses also has good vision. Vision is huge in boxing, 100%. Hand speed and vision, you just nailed two things right there. Moses sees space, he lands with precision. And you know what also, Koki, that I could add to that point, exactly what you're saying about having good vision and see space, that's intuitiveness, his intuition, being able to predict things, basically like a quarterback. If you would have watched the NFL yesterday, it's fresh in my mind, I'm a Browns fan. Shador Sanders threw an out route. His receiver is on the opposite, he rolls left, his receiver is running a drag route starting on the right side, dragging across the field. Shador has to throw the ball to a point the receiver isn't there yet. And it's similar to what Moses does really well in terms of his punch angles, his punch selection. That's called setting people up too. White's performance against Teddo was so unconvincing. Yeah. Composure. White lost to Tyson Fury and Alexander Povetkin over 4.5 rounds. Like, he can literally catch punches. When were those fights, Mark? When were those fights? So, guys, and these are great questions. Dillian White is 31-3. His only 3 losses, he got stopped 3 times. Tyson Fury in 2022. Povetkin in 2020. And AJ in 2015. AJ stopped him 10 years ago. That's insane. That was 10 years ago when Anthony Joshua stopped him. Are we overlooking Dillian White, guys? He's beaten Franklin, Hammer, and Tedda. White isn't perfect, but I respect Moses. What's up, Money Meech? Money Meech in the house. I'm glad you brought that up, Julius. I can't wait till the lines drop on that card. Julius is referring to the Pro Box card with great matchups on that card. Gary Antoine Russell, Gary Russell Jr., their brother, Gary Antonio Russell, is fighting on that card. I always tap in when one of the Russells are fighting. I told you guys before, I love a fighting family, and they're one of boxing's fighting families currently. And every time it's good to see. Just 2 weeks ago, we got to see Gary Russell Jr. fight, and now we're seeing Gary Antonio Russell. So he's on that card. I already bet over 4.5 for Moses White. You got to live with it then, brother. I support your bet. I wouldn't overlook him if I'm Moses, but I know Moses got the goods to finish it. I agree. Hammer chose to quit after 3 rounds. Yep. I mean, Dillian White. Yeah, Koki. Dillian White, I mean, he's a big boy. These are big guys. He could crack. 31-3, 21 knockouts, 6'4", 78-inch reach. Moses only has 12 pro fights, guys. 6'4". You know, the physical stuff is pretty much going to cancel each other out, their height and reach. But you got to talk about that age. Moses is only 20 years old. Is it too much too soon? But is Dylan gone? Because Dylan's 37. It's an interesting one. It's literally, you know, without saying Dylan White ever had the keys to the guard, dare I say changing of the guard, but when you see a 37-year-old heavyweight versus a 20-year-old heavyweight, and the 37-year-old guy has a pedigree like Dillian White, and Moses is a guy at 20 that people think that he's the next up, it is technically a changing of the guard in terms of generational sort of, you know, Moses has 25 rounds. Big southpaw. I think he's going to come out on fire. I don't think Moses is going to want to play with his food. I think he's going to, you know, obviously he's going to have the speed, the sharpness, everything that a 20-year-old you could expect from a 20-year-old just athlete. If you remove the sport real quick and look at these two men as athletes, high performance race cars, high performance vehicles. One's a 20-year-old and one's a 37-year-old. That in itself, you know, the 37-year-old is going to have a tough hill to climb just to keep up with that energy, that output, that expenditure. So I could see Moses, you know, and he does quick work for a reason. It's a fun fight. It's a fun fight. Julius, fun those WC Grand Prix fights on Wednesday going to be up. Julius, are you guys do they let you bet on those Grand Prix fights? Because we don't get any options on them. Josh Heath, White doesn't have the best technique, but he likes throwing wild swings. Yes, and he got power. If White comes in swinging like a drunk man, Moses will do what he did to Balogan when he got caught coming recklessly. I agree. And you got to think that's what White's going to do, right, Heath? Do we see Dillian White trying to stay at range and win on the scorecards? I don't think so. What's the stoppage pay? Put it that way. 4 weeks till Canelo Crawford. Bet's going to be insane. I know, Kogi. Canelo Crawford, man, people are going to be drawing lines in the sand. This is a cultural relevance fight, right? This is this has a lot of magnitude to a Canelo versus Crawford. People are going to be getting offended by people's breakdowns. Arguments are going to be had. Whoever I tell you I'm taking, I hope somebody online on the YouTube content creator list calls me out because I'll gladly debate somebody. I already know who I'm going with. But yeah, it's going to be insane. The card's fun too. The entire card's fun. Moses needs some rounds, but I don't think this. No. Money. No. I don't think this is the fight to be getting rounds in. I agree. I don't think this is the fight. And no. You can't play with you can't be against a big dangerous vet like Dillian White and want to get rounds in. That's not what you do at this level. You don't, especially as a heavyweight. Not at all. Especially with Moses' trajectory and how you know what that Money Meech, you know what bothers me? It kind of, it's way different context, but did you watch the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor fight? The trilogy. And when you watch Amanda Serrano's game plan in the third one and you hear her speak after and you hear her coaches and the game plan after, and it's like they handcuffed everything that made Amanda Serrano sort of like competitive with Katie Taylor's style in the first two fights. They kind of removed that. They told her, don't be so aggressive. They told her, don't punch with her. They told her, don't fight as close in range on the inside. So they said, fight her at range, make her come to you. And it's kind of like when you do that to a fighter like Amanda Serrano, you almost remove Amanda Serrano from Amanda Serrano. So to say that Moses is going to go in there and get rounds against a dangerous, old, seasoned, grizzled vet, like Dillian White, it's almost like you remove. That's not how he goes about his work anyway. You'd almost be risking, taking what makes him so sort of the hype around him. You almost risk removing that. I don't think he's going to do that either. Dwayne Styles, good night, boxing fam. New week, new start. God is good. Be good, Dwayne Styles. Koki, if Moses wants rounds, Shatora, crazy eyes to be willing. I like war. Joshua Heath, Canelo Crawford, historic. Depth. What's up, Depth? Haven't seen you on the live stream. How we feel about Kai, Prates, Ford, Moses, Parlay. I traditionally don't combine boxing and MMA. I do them individually. I don't think Carlos Prates is gonna have his hands full with Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal, mate. You guys are sleeping on Hands of Steel. I still feel we haven't seen him at his peak or his potential. Don't sleep on Jeff Neal. And Kaya Sakura, he's fighting a tough tough old veteran not Tim. You know who I'm talking about. I'm going from boxing to MMA. But yeah, he should win that fight. Ford and Moses Parlay. The only one that I would question, Depth, is Prates. I'm probably going to go with Jeff Neal in that fight, to be honest with you. Mabili versus Martinez. That's not my official prediction, though, Depth. Mabili versus Lester. We'll see. I can't wait for that fight. Dude, Christian Mabili versus Lester Martinez. Come on. High interest. I think Moses, that's easy, brother. What are you going to be? Yeah, we're just overthinking it. High interest. We appreciate you checking in. Joshua Heath, I have a feeling once Crawford feels the power of 68, he'll probably start moving backwards. Once he gets hit, it's going to be interesting to see his game plan, Josh. Think about how, granted, it was at 147, how the fight against Errol started. A lot of people weren't expecting Bud to start off southpaw and push Errol back. So that in itself kind of took people by surprise. They were saying that Bud would kind of, fight Errol from the outside, taste his power, and then make a decision moving forward if he was going to switch stances. No, he went straight after him. So is that the move against Canelo, considering the size difference? I don't think it should be. I think, is Bud skilled enough to outbox Canelo at this stage of the game? Yeah, we'll see. Canelo is a big dude. There's weight classes for a reason, though. We can't forget that. Julius, whenever a fighter says we need rounds to translate, I couldn't stop him. Yeah, that's afterwards, though, Julius. That's why I'm like, you don't want to, as analyzing the fights and betting on the fights and guys wagering our hard-earned money on a potential outcome, the idea that we would, be hesitant due to he might want to get rounds, I don't think that's ever, I don't even think that's a valid narrative, so I agree with you. It's one of those statements said afterwards when a guy couldn't stop a guy. Style-wise, I favor Crawford. 8-ounce gloves are crazy. I hope Crawford can withstand it and force Canelo to cut the ring off. Joshua Heath reminds me of when Better Beef corner getting desperate of knockout in the first Bivol fight. Chaz V, what's up, buddy? I'm thinking the same, Johnny. I like Neal. Yeah, Jeff Neal, man. Give me a couple days on the UFC. We just hit, we've hit 21 picks in a row in the UFC, by the way. So I want to enjoy this past weekend and the weekends before victory. I do great on the fight nights anyway. It's the UFC pay-per-view events, obviously, which have much more parity to the matchups, much closer odds. So we'll get there in a second. The difference is Errol's pressure is more volume-based while Canelo's throwing. Yeah, they're different style of fighters, Josh. I was just referring to what the analysts were predicting in Bud's game plan. So my point really wasn't what Errol was doing. It was the fact that the analysts were trying to hypothesize what Bud was going to do right off jump, and he didn't do it. And even afterwards, when you listen to Errol Spence in the post-fight, he was asked about that, and he said he was actually surprised at Crawford's game plan. So that's one thing that, any Bomac fighter is always going to be well prepared. They're going to have a great game plan. We know Bud has a high fight IQ. We know that he could also change. He could go from plan A to plan B as well. He's not a one-dimensional guy. He's versatile. I think it would be wise, though, for Crawford to get Canelo's respect early. You know what I mean? I think that Crawford's going to have to set the tone early, not only with the judges, but also with Canelo. in letting him know that he's there to fight and not there just to kind of move around. I don't expect Crawford to just move around either. Errol struggled with southpaws very early in his career. Yep. Change title. I don't care about views, see? CDD says change title to UFC 319 picks to get views. Guess what, brother? I don't do this for views, but I appreciate you. Thanks for tapping in. Pedro Cabrales. Canelo hasn't fought a great southpaw unless you regard BJS. Highly, me personally, I never did. True. So, I mean, I've always said Bud's going to fight from southpaw against Canelo. Boxing fan, Bud going to approach Canelo like Ben versus Eubank. Whoo. Mate, could you imagine? Could you imagine if that's what we see? You think he's going to do that? You think he's just going to go guns a-blazing? What if we see, I think, this is going to sound insane. I think you have to do that. If I'm Bud, I think for Bud, he's, 37 now? I think he turns 38 in November. I think, why not be historic? Like, imagine if we see Hagler versus Hearns, like from the opening bell, they just go after it. That would be amazing. That's what I want to see. Bud said what he did wasn't part of the game plan. He decided to do that. He said that. Yeah, he said that when asked. Money Meach, I don't think Crawford will bring anything Canelo hasn't seen. He's got to be damn near perfect for the duration of the fight to win. Huh. Crawford needs to have a similar approach the same way Bivol fought Canelo, of getting in and out and probing with the jab. Julius, I got Cortez versus Maloney going the distance. Yeah, RG Cortez versus Andrew Maloney's up this weekend too, boys. That's a main event. I mean, he's still a champion. Lara is still a champion. No one, yeah. I mean, rewatch Lara versus Canelo. How many rounds did you give Lara? It's worth the rewatch. If we had, if I was able to just put it on the TV, we'd watch it together. Guys, let me know. In our Discord group, is that something we could do? Because I'll start doing film. We could start putting film study or watching old fights in the Discord. I don't know does Discord have a live stream feature? Because I know if I did that here, I would get flagged and copyright struck. Henry Williams, Bo Mac is a slob. I can't trust no trainer that weighs over 400 pounds. Sorry, that's just me. Wouldn't trust a blind pilot either, but that's just me. So, Henry Williams, I am a strength and conditioning coach. I've been a coach for over a decade. I'm 43 years old. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm a 2-time published author on living, healthy, interviewing health and fitness professionals, scientists, pro athletes, etc. Is Bomac overweight and obese? Yes. Is that a sign of his daily habits? Yes. To remove, would I trust a dentist who has no teeth? No. To say that an overweight guy who struggles with basically an oral fixation, because that's all it is. All eating is this oral, just like smokers. The smoker uses it to smoke a cigarette. The food addiction uses the same thing, but it's still an oral pleasure, right? So to compare that to a blind pilot that's not a fair assessment. That now you're talking logic. A blind pilot would never be able to get their pilot's license because they couldn't see. Bomac's sort of addiction, I don't feel, relates to his cognizant mind on what he sees with strategy. So I think your argument there is flawed. Do I agree that he's overweight? And obviously, do I wish him sort of like, because I know him and I want him to live a long life, and I think he's a hell of a coach. Look at his stable. Do I want to see him one day healthy and in shape? 100%. Will he reach out to the professionals who could help him and show? Guys, it's hard. You got to. He has to be vulnerable. He has to ask for help. I understand your point, but I think your logic and reasoning is a bit off. Those are a bit. They're not kind of aligned with what you're comparing it to. But I see what you're saying. Julius, stop and bend this time. Lara arguably won that fight. I think so. Dude, Lara won a lot of rounds, boys. Watch Lara Canelo again. Lara won some rounds, dude. The scorecards were crazy. For me, Eubank versus Ben was fight of the year. It was a war. It was crazy. It was crazy. I don't want to see it again though. I don't want to see Eubank versus Ben again. You know, because I'm seeing two guys who are literally taking years off of their life expectancy based off of bad decision making in the ring, bad technique, bad game plans, all for the sake of thrills. Hey, as boxing fans and people who, you know, are here for bloodshed, it was exciting from a boxing technical standpoint. There's no way their coaches are sitting back and if their coaches were guys who cared about their health and well-being and cared about their families, they wouldn't be happy with either one of those performances. Those guys, they got hit way too much. It's boxing, not get hit in the head every chance you can just for the sake of who's the tougher guy. Let me see who has the bigger ego. I didn't like that fight, to be honest with you. It was hard to watch the last few rounds. Just watching them, it was brutal. We just saw what happened in Japan. Two guys from the same card passed away. Like, it's life, dude. It's not a sport to be taken lightly. I'd like to see, I'd like to interview their coaches and ask them some questions about why they even want. I mean, we're going to get paid more. We're going to get the bag. Okay, but in 20 years, are you going to be able to take care of yourself? Are you going to be self-sufficient when you're 60? But you got the bag. You got money. Stupid. How are we feeling about Hrgovic against Adelaide? Yeah, we talked about that fight already. I give Ben little chance to win. Eubank. I don't even want to see that fight again. Pedro, it does have a streaming feature. Okay, I'm going to look into it. Boxing fan, Discord is a speakeasy. I like it. Are you covering Dana White's Contender Series this upcoming Tuesday? Damn, Depth. I didn't even know that was going down. I didn't even know that was going down. I'll cover it. I actually won a lot of money last year on the Dana White Contender Series because you can bet on it down here. I'll have a look, Depth. I do. Guys, if you're new to the channel, I do 2 live streams a day. This is my second one. Make sure you hit the bell notification button so, you know, as you you subscribe to my channel, you'll also be notified when I go live. If I bet on the Contender Series, I'll put him up in the Discord, boys. Bomac was also a professional boxer as well. Yeah, he was. I know, he's a pro athlete. I know. Joseph P. I'm back. Had to take a break. It's good to see you back. Julius, Bomac be eating entire... I know, boy. It's hard to watch. Henry, I appreciate your knowledge and insight. My brother Bomac was actually a pro boxer. Losing, right? I know. And like I said, Henry, it's hard. It's frustrating because people pay me. What keeps my lights on, right, is my fitness business. So people pay me to help them and guide them with their health. So like you, when I see guys like Bomac, man, who just haven't figured that out yet, man, it's frustrating. It's real frustrating. Because what I see in Bomac, I'm 43. I think Bomac's only 47. Bomac might not even be 47. So another thing, my dad died young. So my father passed away when he was, 55. He should still be alive. And when he was young, he was collegiate football player, great shape. And I watched him throughout my childhood give up sort of on life psychologically, get all big and overweight, bad habits, lazy, and he died young. And I made a choice to not be that way, and I made a choice to do the opposite. So when I see men who struggle, I'm empathetic, but I'm also it's frustrating, especially if you know a guy personally, Pedro. It is dehumanizing. Yeah, I agree. I prefer Ben fighting for a world title. So Pedro, why is Ben going to 60? Right? I hate the money conversation. Stay at 47. Stay at 47 and see if you could beat those guys at 47. That's why I don't like this fight, because you got to think about the damage Ben took in the first fight against Eubank. He got hit so much, man. I don't want to say he's not going to be the same guy, but he took a lot of damage, mate. Boxing fan, good point. Bad diet doesn't necessarily apply to bad coaching. Bomac has a good mind. He sees it. He sees strategy. And we know Bud Crawford's a chess player. There's one of my buddies used to be, from Youngstown. He came up with Pavlik like myself, and then he boxed amateur, came up through the RGBA camp out in California, and he was with Bud and Usyk and who's the kid from ESN News on YouTube. This would have been like 12 years ago. He was in the hotel room when Bud was playing chess against Usyk. He was one of the guys in the room, and that was like 12 years ago. And he always would tell me, his name's James. He always would tell me that Crawford's super. He's outside of the ring as well. Obviously competitive, but for a guy to be able to bet $10,000 a game on chess and win, he knows what he's doing. That, by the way, that's some insider info. That's him and Usyk were playing $10,000 a game on chess, by the way. If you haven't seen those pictures or footage, I think it's on, can't think of the kid's name. He has the video. It's a 2-minute video from like 2016. ESN News, something like that. Lara cracked Alvarez to the head at long range, but Alvarez pounded Lara to the body. Julius, I've never seen a Japanese box. See, the Japanese guys, man, no, they're too proud. It's why, we had Sugar Nunez winning. It's against, wasn't it Rikishi? It's why we had Brian Norman Jr. against Sasaki. Like, they don't move their head. They're too proud, dude. Stop using your head for defense. Slip a bit. Slip. No feints. Just bomb. It's just too proudful. But you die. Like, it's fun to watch, but goddamn. Damn, all these comments coming in. Julius, Pro Box card. Yep. Rando in the house. The big fella. I'm up late. Get some rest, big homie. Early thoughts on Ortiz versus Claggett going down to 2. I love that fight. I like both guys, Henry. I'm going to break that fight down the closer we get to fight week. Jermaine Ortiz is one of my favorite fighters. Steve Claggett is one of my, what he brings into the ring, that style. We saw it against Teofimo Lopez. He's going to be there to get hit, his volume, his pressure. Claggett's a true fighter. It's a fun fight. Yeah, listen to Mark, man. Let's hit that like button. Claggett will be on the Ortiz. Yeah, Claggett's going to be in your face the entire time. And, guys, Claggett and Ortiz both fought Teofimo Lopez. I think Jermaine Ortiz has a potential star to his name. He just hasn't had his viral moment. I said the same thing about Richardson Hitchens as of late. He just didn't have his viral moment, and that's why I picked him to stop George. He did. He had his viral moment, and that's going to add. I can't wait to see Richardson fight again. I think Ortiz has it in him, man. I've seen, Ortiz turn the volume up in his offense more and more. I think Claggett is a perfect opportunity for Ortiz to, have a great moment. We'll see. Bomax 55. Okay, so Bomac 55, man. I want him to lose weight so bad because, how many obese guys do you know at 70 years old? We don't meet many obese senior citizens, do we? Rambler says, how many protein shakes? I don't take any protein shake, Rambler. I don't take supplements. That's going to be a hot, not supposed to be a controversial topic, but I played sports my entire life. I've been a lifelong athlete. I still train. If you guys follow my Instagram, I train every day. I run 100 kilometers a month, going on 4.5 years. I'm a power lifter. I box and spar twice a week. I don't take anything. I eat a whole food diet. I don't eat processed foods. I don't drink alcohol. I drink water. I drink coffee in the morning, just black as a supplement. And I train my body. And I rest. Rest and recovery is huge, boys. Saunas, float tanks. What's up with the 2 Japanese? I know, man. Ricardo, they took a lot of damage. Abbas Baru, great fight, Julius. I can't wait for that fight. Yanis Tellis, Baru, good fight. Pedro Ellie, ESN News. Oh, yeah, that was his name. Good call. Damn, the chat's going off. Sorry if I didn't get to these. Ortiz, Yanis Tellis, and Rivera. Claggett is made for Ortiz. I think so. Henry, Jermaine Ortiz is going to end up like Ashton Silva getting slept if he's not careful. I do think he barely sneaks out a win versus Claggett. Yeah, it's a fun fight, Henry. I'm going to wait until I get the odds. And if you're new to the channel, I do it week by week with my breakdowns. Sandoval. Yanko Rivera's up. I know. Remember the name Sandoval. Julius. Yep, we just saw that happen, didn't we? Ricardo Sandoval. Yanko Rivera's on upset alert. Life is for living, though. We don't want to live on steamed broccoli. No. I didn't say that. I didn't tell. What do you mean? I don't do steamed broccoli and rice. What are you talking about, Rambler? Just because I said I eat real food doesn't, I don't do, here's another thing, Brambler. I don't do food portions. I've never meal prepped. I don't do food orders. I go to the grocery store. I shop for the food that I cook for myself and I eat it. My food's amazing. Dude, I eat whatever I want. Read chapter 3 in my latest book, The 24-Hour Reset. The chapter is titled Fuck Breakfast. And it's all about untying these sort of perimeters that adults put on us since we were kids on how we should look at food. People are like, you need to eat breakfast, you need to eat lunch, you need to eat dinner. That's not how I roll. When you wake up at a certain time, you go to bed at a certain time, you pick a margin of a window. So I eat from about 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., whatever I want. But in that window from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., when you're living a healthy lifestyle, you're going to want to eat food that make you feel good. So, if I'm going to eat shitty processed McDonald's, it's going to make me feel shitty. I don't do that. I'm going to eat a ribeye when I want. I'm going to eat salmon. I'm going to eat sushi, stuff like that. Life is worth living. Come on, Rambler, dude. Somebody lied to you, Rambler. Don't listen to the lies. Working out with Johnny would be dope as hell. Come on, boys. Let's go. I'll hold pads for you. Come down to Sydney. Julius, try raw milk. Didn't they make that illegal? Or I know raw milk is illegal in most states, I think. I just need to understand diet and protein intake. So Joseph, the best way to make you understand, if you look at all of the calories you eat throughout a day, look at it like a circle. So if that circle is our graph, you need to break up all of your food. The food is broken up into 3 major categories. Macronutrients. In macronutrients, we're talking about proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Everything else you eat are micronutrients. We can talk about that later. But protein, fats, and carbs, macronutrients, right? Where the Western diet gets it wrong is they go 80-20 the wrong way. You need to go 80% proteins and fats and 20% carbs, right? Most people in the West go 80% carbs and fats and only 20% protein. So you could start there. And another tip I give you is if you have to read it, don't eat it. So if you're opening up your food out of packages, it's not real food. Also ask yourself, how many steps did this food take to get to my plate? So if I go to the seafood monger right now to get a piece of salmon and, he gives me a piece of salmon, puts it in the paper, I bring it home to cook here. How many steps did that take? They caught the salmon, they cleaned it, they sold it. Now, if I go to the same store and get a frozen dinner, we'll say a frozen chicken Parmesan, you read the ingredients, how many steps did that Parmesan take to get to my plate? Probably over 100. So the lesser the steps, the more healthier. So this sort of thing, if you want to start there, one of my coaching styles, both with nutrition and fitness, is I simplify things. It's only difficult once you get started. Once you get started, there's systems around how to simplify your life, simplify your health, daily habits. Another one you could start is try to go to bed at the same time, try to wake up at the same time. Sounds simple, right? Mankey Crazy in the house. Welcome to the chat. Join the Discord. Boxing fan. Beast. Mankey's in the house. Hergovix looks good. I like that call too. If you got to read it, don't eat it. That's from my book. C. Miller, where does vodka and Miller Lite come in this equation? No, it's all good. I used to be a bartender in Las Vegas, C. Miller. The longer you hang around, dude, I used to transport pounds of cannabis when I was in my early 20s from Long Beach. I used to get paid by this guy. He was an old Vietnam vet named Don Montelius. And I was living in Long Beach. I told the story once on the stream. I'll be real quick with it. But he would sell all of his weed to the dispensaries in Long Beach. This would have been 2004. So I was 22, I think. And he would pay me and the girl I was dating to drive 10 to 12 hours from Long Beach to the northern part of California. The name will come to me. It was north of San Francisco. And we would go up there. He'd make me wear a suit and a tie, drive all the way up there, Humboldt County. We would go up to Humboldt County, and I'd go to this place, pop the trunk, and they would take a spare tire, which was in my back in the trunk, and stuff it with air vacuum cannabis. I'd drive straight back down 12 hours. I'd go meet Don Montelius at this little bougie hotel. It's not there anymore. It was called the Long Beach Pier Hotel. It was right on 2nd Street and PCH, right across from the In-N-Out Burger. And we would unload it, and then for the next like 4, 5, 6 hours, I'd help him trim it. And then he would pay me like a couple $1,000 for the trip, and then let me and my girlfriend at the time keep all the trimmings. And then we would make like brownies, we'd smoke it. It was insane. Yeah, so vodka and Miller Lite used to be a major staple in my life. But we got to make changes. Where does the vodka? I haven't had liquor since 27. Nice, brother. Cookie. See, we're on that same track, right? I changed everything too when I was about 30. I was 30 or 31. So I'm 43 now. We got time. But time is a fickle bitch as well. So if you haven't started yet on sort of making slight change, and it doesn't happen overnight, you start a little bit changes. Julius, I just eat meat and eggs. Nice. First of the month, I go crazy. Yeah, it's good to have. Another thing with that psychologically, Julius, is I never tell myself and I never tell clients to get on a diet. So I don't use the word I'm on a diet. I don't believe in diets. I don't like the terminology or the word diet. You choose to eat what you choose to eat, right? So I think it's more important to understand how food makes you feel an hour after you eat it. Because initially, food pleasure, mouth pleasure, oral pleasure. So a cheeseburger, who doesn't love that? Fucking pizza, I'm Italian. But pay attention after those meals, an hour later, how do you feel? Versus a piece of fish or a ribeye or prawns, something like that. So it's important to tap into that as well. C. Miller, I've had a hard percentage in the past, but combat sport, yes. 28, C. Miller, young boy, you're a young man. Good to have you here. Thank you, C. Miller, appreciate you. Send the trophy, you look 33. We're working. Mark, sugar crash is dangerous. Yeah, so I love when these chats every now and then turn into the fitness stuff. Koki, Johnny looks like college senior. I'm an old head, boys. Some of you guys on my Instagram are calling me Unk, which is insane. But yeah, so the nutrition side of things, it's all habits. Anyone see Dylan White winning crazy odds? What's up, boss? Haven't seen you on the stream in a while. Nice to have you here. Can we see Dylan White winning? I don't know, man. I mean, resume, experience. He's only lost 3 times. I can't believe that knockout loss to Joshua was 10 years ago. C. Miller, appreciate the tip, man. Appreciate you, brother. Everything helps, man. Tipping really goes a long way, man. I really appreciate you. From Johnny says boxing, Johnny says nutrition. Mark, it's in that book right there. That's called The 24-Hour Reset. That's my second book. There's a whole, it's about it's like my service to my clients, my health and fitness clients. But I don't like bragging about that stuff online. I talked about it before. The online digital fitness space is so toxic and dirty, dude. It's wild. I'm trying to figure out if those guys Goodman fought were any good. So Reese Salim is good, Rambler. You got Reese Salim. That's a good win. TJ Dotney, former world champion. That's a good win. I mean, Cesar Vaca, I think that was his first fight at 26. Tough Mexican. Obviously had, I don't want to say a padded record, but I think that might have been his first fight out of Mexico when he came here to Australia. I was at that fight. Yeah, it's his second fight at 26. We'll see. Weight cutting is ruining fighters, mate. And Julius, how do we get past it, right? It's ingrained in our sport, and none of the big boys want to even talk about it. Yeah, Cesar fought him well. I was impressed. I watched Cesar Vaca all fight week. I was right there when he walked out. I learned, dude, Cesar Vaca impressed me, man. He was a tough guy. Johnny is a pro for men's health. Well, appreciate you, Koki. I've been doing this for over a decade, man. You guys, I'm glad I'm getting to reintroduce myself to a new audience. I got to be honest with you guys, though. I grew my Instagram in 2015, 2016 to 40,000. At one time in 2016, my podcast, the first one, we did U.S. podcast tours. I wrote my first book in 2018. You know, I used to interview guys like Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes, George Foreman. My whole point is this community now, though, over the last 6 months on YouTube, by far, for me, has been the most rewarding, like the most fun. This is my outlet. Like you guys are my people, you know, like, because being in the fitness scene, I had to work before I built my garage gym. I had to work at a commercials gym, like a regular gym. And I had never worked in a commercial gym before. I never even been I was a member at LA Fitness before in LA, but that was pretty much to play basketball. I was an athlete my entire life, so I was always used to training with my teammates. We were training during the season. We were training in the gym. We were never going to like a public gym to work out in public just to do fitness. So I never really fit in there. I didn't like working in a public fitness gym as a coach. And it kind of wasn't my people. But here, the boxing space, I mean, I was going to boxing gyms as a 7-year-old. So as we're growing, just to let you know, man, this is hands down my favorite. I love what I do. Boxing fan, thanks for the tip, brother. I appreciate you, man. You support me. Man, boxing fan's my guy. Mankey crazy. Team Caesar was stuck in an L Force 12 hours. Yeah, and Vaca back didn't show Mankey. Vaca didn't take one step back. Vaca cut Goodman. Do you guys remember? Like Vaca, I mean, I had Sammy winning a lot of the rounds, but by no means did Caesar get bullied. You know what I mean? He didn't get bullied. C. Miller, watched many of your prediction videos, but this is the first time I've been in primarily a box fan, but I'm stoked for UFC. Awesome, Miller. Yeah, and C. Miller, if I've been reporting, and so my first book called Ungoogleable was all about my UFC. I used to have a UFC podcast. The Vision Board podcast I started in 2016 out of Sydney. One of my first interviews was Hoist Gracie. Hoist is in my first book. During that era, Stipe Miocic was on my show, Carlos Condit, Matt Brown, the Michelle Watterson, Bruce Buffer was on my show. So like, I still watch every MMA fight. It's why we eat during the MMA fights. We are eating, Julius. Let's get it. Subscribe and click for bell alerts. Boxing, man. Koki, you give us a spot to chill out. Most YouTube chats for boxing, feed off strong. Fun topics, plus how bros with parlays, tons of smart dudes. Thank you, man. And see, the more people like you and myself who realize that, and boxing fan and all the boys on the live still, that's what I'm talking about, dude. It's hard for me to even check out other boxing content, non like film study content, when, like you said, Koki, it's all like drama, fake news, people acting in a certain way to where like I wouldn't really hang. If you're gonna act a certain way online, in a way that like I wouldn't hang out with you in real life, I'm not gonna watch your content. That's just, granted, I am an old head. When I was younger in my 20s, I was probably way more liberal with who I would hang out around. But at this stage of the game, you gotta get that circle tighter and tighter with like-minded people, in person and online as well. How you feeling about JDM? Mate, bro, Pedro, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam. It's insane. It's an insane fight, Pedro. But we first have to get to DDP versus Hamzat, which is insane. I'm getting stressed out about that fight. I'll get to that later in the week. Anderson and GSP are 100% Kogi. Silva and GSP are my favorite UFC fighters. I still have GSP workout. Mate, Koki, have you seen the documentary about David Loaza? David Loaza. So there was a documentary in 2004 or 5 about David Loaza. He's from Montreal, French, Canadian, African mixed martial artist that the UFC was heralding as their next world champion, as the next star, the guy to push Canadian martial arts forward. And in the documentary, they were following his career, and he had a main event spot, and he just had a flat performance, and he got beat. But in that doco, one of his sparring partners, his training partners at TriStar, was a young George St. Pierre. And St. Pierre then became the main focus on that documentary. And it's interesting to see how the careers went. Loaza never panned out, and GSP turned out to be one of the greatest of all time. It's on YouTube. Type in David Loaza and George St. Pierre documentary. It's amazing. Foxy, man, right? I hear that. C. Miller, what state are you in? Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, yes. Great boxers, great boxing time. Guys, I got to wrap it up. We're an hour in, second live of the day. Tomorrow, I'm bringing back my Stats Don't Lie videos. The first upload tomorrow is going to be I'm probably going to do